Welcome back to Structures Unchained, your weekly deep dive into the world's most ambitious megaprojects. Texas isn't just building big in 2026, it is tearing into the systems to keep the state moving. The highway that split Austin in half is being rebuilt live. A $13 billion Houston freeway overhaul, Samsung is racing to turn a $40 billion fab into a real chip engine in East Austin, a $25 billion AI campus in West Texas, and on the Gulf Coast, one of America's biggest LNG projects is moving towards startup. Texas is no longer in render phase. Let's break it down. Austin is preparing to rebuild the road that shaped the city, divided it, and then became impossible to ignore. The I-35 Capital Express Central project is one of the most consequential transportation jobs in Texas right now. Lower the main lanes, remove the upper decks, rebuild bridges, expand east-west crossings, add managed lanes, thread in more than 19 miles of shared use paths and new trail connections. It is not a routine freeway job. It is a redesign of how one of the fastest growing cities in America moves through its own center. TxDOT's project materials show the corridor stretching from Ben White Boulevard to US 290 East, with major bridge, crossing, and mobility work built into the plan. And in 2026, that redesign gets harder to ignore. TxDOT said in February that the project had entered a new phase, and the Lady Bird Lake segment now has visible closures and traffic changes tied to bridge reconstruction. East Avenue under the bridge is closed through mid-2026. The northbound Riverside entrance and exit changes are already in place, and a temporary Holly Street exit is now part of how traffic gets managed through the zone. What makes Austin's version of this story so strong is that Texas is not simply stacking more highway onto the same scar. It is trying to lower the roadway, rebuild the crossings above it, and make the corridor more permeable while it still carries live traffic through the middle of the city. That is a much harder visual and a much harder engineering proposition. The question here is not whether the final version will look better from a drone. It is whether a fast-growing city can reconstruct its most important urban spine without letting the rebuild overwhelm the place it is supposed to serve. If Austin is reworking one corridor, Houston is testing whether it can rebuild a whole freeway core, while the city is still leaning on it. TxDOT describes the North Houston Highway Improvement Project as a $13 billion effort tied to I-45, I-69, I-10, and SH-288, and formally kicked off construction in late 2024. The scale is hard to overstate. Interchange reconstruction, trenching, utility conflicts, years of phasing through the middle of one of the country's largest freeway metros. TxDOT has framed it as a game changer for Houston, and the project scope includes rebuilding downtown freeway infrastructure while improving I-45 northward toward Beltway 8. But Houston's version of this story is not just about traffic. Early work includes major drainage infrastructure, including 12-foot box culverts. Because in Houston, a freeway rebuild also has to function as flood infrastructure. That changes the whole meaning of the project. This is not only about moving vehicles faster, it is about whether a legacy mobility system can be rebuilt to survive the environmental pressure already pushing against it. It is a transportation megaproject doing flood work at the same time, which is exactly why it feels so heavy on camera. Then there is the second layer of difficulty. The I-45 project carries years of scrutiny, mitigation commitments, and federal oversight. TxDOT now publicly tracks parts of that commitment work, which means the test is not just structural, it is institutional. Can a project this large absorb disruption, public criticism, and legal friction and still keep moving? For drivers, the experience is detours and construction fatigue. For Houston, it is a wager on whether the city can modernize one of its most important transportation backbones without multiplying the stress it is trying to solve. And nationally, it raises a bigger question. Can the United States still rebuild the infrastructure it depends on at urban scale, under modern constraints, without getting trapped in the rebuild itself? Roads are only the first layer of the story. The next Texas bet is not on movement. It is on tolerances, control, and whether a giant industrial shell can become a functioning semiconductor engine on the timeline that justified building it. Samsung's Taylor Fab is a $17 billion project on roughly 1,200 acres east of Austin. Samsung has long framed the site around a 2026 operations target, and company remarks reported this month still say the fab is under construction as planned and aiming for operations this year. At the same time, outside reporting suggests the mass production timeline could stretch beyond that first operational milestone. That gap matters because in semiconductor manufacturing, open and fully productive are not the same thing. From a distance, the site does not read like a glamour project. It reads as sealed, utility-heavy, and intensely controlled. Roof lines, service corridors, clean room volume, process infrastructure. The visual language is not height, it is precision. And that is exactly where the suspense begins. Because operational can mean first tools powered on, initial runs, early qualification, limited output. None of that automatically means the fab is ramping with the stability, yield, or commercial relevance needed to matter at full scale. The hard part is the handoff from construction to credible production. That is the real test in Taylor. Not whether Samsung can open a building in Texas, whether Texas can help turn a semiconductor megaproject into a real manufacturing engine fast enough for the moment it was built to serve. Then the story widens again, because in Shackelford County, Texas, is taking the AI boom and turning it into physical territory. Vantage says its Frontier campus is a $25 billion project spread across 1,200 acres, with 1.4 gigawatts of capacity, 10 data centers, and about 3.7 million square feet of space. Construction had already begun when the campus was announced, and the company says the first building is scheduled for delivery in the second half of 2026. Reuters described it as one of the biggest AI-focused data center bets underway in the United States. Vantage also says the site is designed for liquid cooling and rack densities above 250 kilowatts, which tells you immediately that this is not just a standard hyperscale campus. This is what the AI race looks like once it leaves the cloud and hits land. There is no skyline icon here, no signature tower. The visible build is almost secondary. Low-slung data halls, cooling systems, utility yards, transmission dependence, support infrastructure stretched across a giant site. At this scale, the campus is less a real estate project than a power and thermal management project disguised as one. That is why this segment has the cleanest line in the whole script. If the power does not arrive, the project does not exist. The campus only becomes real once the invisible systems behind it show up at full scale. Then there is the Gulf Coast, where megaprojects stop being construction stories and start becoming operating tests. Golden Pass LNG says it is starting up in 2026. The project, backed by ExxonMobil and Qatar Energy, is designed around 3 liquefaction trains, totaling about 18 million metric tons per year, which places it among the largest U.S. LNG export facilities. Reuters reported in late January that Exxon's CEO expected the plant to begin producing LNG in March 2026, and reported again in February that natural gas flows into the facility had increased as it moved closer to first LNG. Reuters has described the project as roughly $10 billion. Visually, it already reads like a finished industrial city. Pipe racks, cryogenic tanks, flares, marine berths, steel everywhere. It is one of the most striking heavy industrial megaprojects in the country. But startup is where the project actually gets judged. Golden Pass has already lived through delays, cost overruns, and contractor disruption. Those are major construction stories. They become secondary once a facility approaches commissioning and live operation. At that stage, the questions narrow and harden. Can the system sequence correctly? Can the plant move from feed gas to LNG output reliably? Can it behave like an export terminal under real operating conditions instead of a near-finished construction site? That is why first LNG matters, but not enough by itself. The real deadline is not the ribbon cutting. It is not even the first cargo. It is the point where the plant has to run, repeatedly and credibly, as the industrial system it was built to be. That's what ties all of this together. Texas is not building one megaproject. It is rebuilding all of its systems, and when the time arrives, the only question that matters: will all of this work? Subscribe and join us to find out when the time comes. See you next time.